Littleton Planning Board meeting for April 8th at 6:30. And our agenda is as follows. We have at 6:30, we have a continued public hearing for the retail marijuana establishment at 537 Great Road. 6:45, continued public hearing, Aquifer Water Resource District Special Permit, 550 and 534 King Street. 6:55 A&R, 550 and 534 King Street. 7 p.m. continued public hearing, retail marijuana special permit for 531 King Street. 7 o'clock public hearing, 289 Great Road, Village Common. 8 o'clock continued public hearing, modified Aquifer special permit, Taylor Street. And 8:15 discussion about Greenfield Drive. At 8:30, hopefully we'll be dealing with board business if we're on time. And anyway, without further ado, we have a 6:30 continued public hearing, retail marijuana establishment special permit. Warren, do we have the people for that?
Yeah. Just give me
David Gianetta.
Which panelists? So let's see. David Gianetta, Paul Alphin, and oops. Try that again. Okay. Dave, I don't have a return to attendee button. I hit one too many. Is Stacy? I promoted by mistake.
I'm sorry?
LCTV, Dave.
Oh,
Okay, sorry.
sorry about that.
Who would you like to return, Maren?
Stacy.
Okay.
Okay. David, so do you need Brian Goodrow or Phil? That one. Was it Phil Silverman? No, that's the one I was trying to get. Sorry.
Thank you.
My mistake. Okay, I hope I promoted his team now.
If we could also have Brian Goudreau.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, we like Brian.
Okay. All right, everybody here? Okay, everybody's here. Great.
Ready?
Sure. Do you want to give us a brief overview of where we left off last time and what's new and need to discuss this evening?
I think
Right.
Paul's going to do that.
I'm going to do that. Paul Alphin for the applicant. I'm here, as you can see, with David Gianetta, Brian Goudreau, and attorney Phil Silverman. We were last here on March 4th. You gave us some assignments to follow up for today's meeting. And you should have in your materials first, on March 11th, we submitted a proposed decision to town council and to your office, and the instrument has been reviewed and edited a little bit by your council. The format of the decision is remarkably similar to the other permit that you issued for the similar use. The conditions are remarkably the same. We tried to keep them consistent and to overall have them line up. The other instrument you should have is a March 22nd, 2021 letter from Attorney Silverman, where he responded to the various additional documents that you had requested at the meeting, including an updated site plan. The site plan now shows that the handicapped accessible parking spaces, and clarifying the site is in the town's Aquifer district. We also submitted some signed forms regarding no waiver requests and other requirements as regard to your permitting process. Information was submitted to the chief of police that you had requested, and we received an acknowledgement. You wanted a copy of the most recent annual report. That was included in the package. You wanted more information on what the reference was to volunteers, and a written description was provided regarding that terminology. We've also since obtained the host community agreement and host community agreement certification form between the town and our client, and that was included. There's also a draft change of location application, which will be filed in substantially similar form with the Cannabis Control Commission. There's a new project progress timeline to match the new application and the change of location and the need for the new hearings, and evidence of notices and confirmation of our client's community outreach meeting with respect to 537 Great Road. And then finally, after these materials were submitted and your staff and I think some board members had an opportunity to view them, there were a couple of clerical items that were requested, and those documents were submitted. I think most importantly, just a correction on the application that we're in the Aquifer Protection District, and then some signatures on some forms. So I hope you will find that the application is complete, that everything that you requested had been submitted, and we hope that also the draft decision is what you expected it to be. Any questions?
Thank you. Does the board have any questions right now, or sounds like they've answered pretty much all that we've asked of them? Does any members have any outstanding issues or questions they want to ask the group right now? Jerry, do you have any questions?
No.
You're good. Jeff?
No, I just want to clarify that the draft decision, which has edits in it, that's by the town council, that's the draft, that's the decision. Is that correct? I have a draft decision that shows edits. They're really minor. And that's what we'll be eventually voting on.
Well, we're going to make sure that the decision's in the proper way and send it back to town council for final.
Okay.
If there's anything we have to add to it.
Okay.
If I may,
Go
please.
ahead.
So those edits were actually made by town council.
Yes.
Those edits in blue. So we accept those edits.
Okay.
Just to clarify.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anna, do you have any questions or concerns at the time?
Couple quick questions. So thank you guys for coming back and responding to the questions that we had asked the last time, and quote checking all the boxes and all those other kind of things that we had talked about. I just had a quick question on the plan. So I know that you have, I think it's 43 parking spaces. I was just wondering, given that there are 2 other businesses there, how will your customers know where to park, or is there not any kind of designation about where exactly they should park when they come into your retail store?
Sure, I can answer that. We'll have secondary signage that directs the customers to drive through the parking lot and past the existing main entrance, and we'll direct them to the west side of the building where the parking is going to be dedicated. That's where the 43 parking spaces are going to be dedicated to that side of the building. So we will have secondary signage. We'll also have attendants outside as well who are checking IDs prior to allowing customers to enter into the building. And those attendants can also assist in any parking assistance as well.
Okay. Okay, great. And then I think with the draft decision that was then provided back to all of us with town council's comments, that included my comments, but there was one. I just wanted to go back to page 6, item number 12. It says the applicant shall submit a copy of a valid license to operate at this location. That's referencing the provisional license or the final license. So that's a question.
So at this point, we couldn't have a final license for now. You don't get that until after you do your construction, and after you then get some further inspections after that. So that at this point, all we can have is a provisional license.
Okay, all right. It just didn't say the word provisional, so I just wanted to confirm what I was thinking.
Yep.
Great. So thank you very much. I know that, oh, actually one more quick question. On the site plan, under one of the notes, it's notes 3 and 4, the reference says that it's not in compliance with zoning. Could you just explain that, please, as to what that comment means?
Not in compliance with what?
With zoning.
I think that's a Brian question. He's referring to the site plan.
Right, so the site plan that's represented there is compiled off of available information. So essentially what the note is stating is that we're representing what's out there today. When we did this, there was snow on the ground. So in terms of parking space count and things like that. So the note itself isn't reflecting today in April, the fact that we don't have it, and we have confirmed that we have valid striping for the proposed use and for the existing uses as broken down. So just a point of clarification.
Okay, great. And so then does that mean you will be submitting a new final plan tomorrow?
We certainly can to reword that verbiage.
Okay, I think that would just be good so that everything is tied up. So thank you.
It. No one else? Anyone? Myron? We've got it back from town council. Everything's good.
Yep, we have the draft back from town council. I always recommend that your vote is contingent on final wording from town council, so it gives us all a chance to reread it one more time.
Yep.
Other than that, I believe it's ready to go.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience, Myron, with their hands up?
Nobody with a hand right up. Here we go. Barry, just a moment. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I don't know if this is appropriate this time, but I'm just learning about this recently, reading through the Wicked Local, which is the only paper around here. I live about 400 feet from here, and apparently we were excluded because we're more than 300 feet away. But I see that the Board of Assessors gave you a list of people 300 to 1,500 feet away. Why were they excluded?
No, it would be 300 feet, right?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
they
And Mr. Chair, could the speaker identify themselves by name and address?
Oh, I'm sorry. Barry Sullivan, and I live at 2 Beaverbrook Road.
Thank you.
Yeah, if I may, Mark, the requirements for a special permit is for abutters within 300 feet and abutters to abutters within 300 feet of the property. And the assessor's office creates those abutters lists and certifies them. Had very good results with the Littleton assessor's lists over the last 25 years.
So I was included in the 3 to 1,500 feet, but I was not notified. I'm like 400 feet away at the most.
That's correct.
Okay, so I'm not required to be notified.
That's correct.
What I just don't understand why the 1,500 feet was requested by somebody, though it was not acted upon or is not deemed, relevant.
Mr. Chair, do we know what the 1,500 foot reference is?
I
Yeah,
have no idea. Myron, do you know where the
Yep. The 1,500 foot is still a relic of the registered marijuana dispensary portion of the bylaw. And it still shows up on the assessor's lists, on the assessor's request for abutters lists.
But it's not applicable to this application, is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
okay, so it's not, okay. My other question is in the same article from the newspaper, It said that the, oh boy, I'm sorry. Traffic mitigation at the intersection of Great Road and Beaverbrook Road is part of the site's overall plan. What is that? Or is that not correct?
If I may, I can, I mean, I'll do my best to respond to that. It is as simple as it's a newspaper article. The editors definitely choose what they would like to publish and what they would not like to publish. And so sometimes things are accurate and sometimes things are not. I can tell you that the paper did reach out to me, the Eagle Independent, and my response was quoted in the article, and that response said nothing with regards to a correlation between my business plan and the town's plan with Beaverbrook Road traffic circle. So I can't quite comment on that other than nothing that they stated in the paper, nothing that the editor stated was our words of our team.
Okay. This just brings up the question of the 300 to 1,500 feet. So we have no good source of information. That's the problem. The newspaper also put out another article that was very confusing, and it talked about 531 Air Road, 537 Great Road. It had a site plan for 531 Air Road. And I said, okay, it must be 531 Air Road, which turned out to be totally false. So this is the things we're dealing with nowadays. And I wish you people would understand that. We have no good media, contacts now. So, I mean, it's just very confusing information.
Well, as a board, we apologize for that. We did what we're legally responsible to do.
I know.
The abutter is 300 feet away. There were articles in the paper as well. Announcing this, we had it in 2 or 3 consecutive papers to let people know that this was coming before us, not just this meeting, but the meeting before. So we did the best we could to make sure everybody that was interested got notified. I apologize that you weren't around on the first meeting, that you're catching it late, but the board did the best we could to make sure everybody was interested, got notification of it. Do you have a question? The 300 feet is the law. We did the best we could with it. If you have a question or a comment about the operation of this facility, would you direct it to David or his counsel, and we can have them address it?
Okay. I have.
I think he's making a good point, though. I mean, we don't have a good change management mechanism with these types of things that have more sensitive impacts. I mean, we may be doing the minimum, or we're doing what we can as a municipality, but he's right. I mean, when they changed the newspaper, the beacon went out, like the lines of communication are bad.
Very bad.
And so for something like this, that is probably somewhat sensitive, we don't have a good way to alert the residents of pending impact, because this has been, I mean, just for this caller, this is a long process. You're actually the second site. The first site was rejected.
Yeah.
It's been going on for a while. Your awareness is probably limited, because at the time when we first heard it, you weren't even a consideration. Then you go to Plan B, and again, we're not really in a position to market it from a product side. So like, we're not doing it in a way I think that's meeting all the town stakeholder needs. So I mean, we could probably work with the selectmen in better ways to bring awareness to these types of changes.
Yeah.
We did post it on it was in the Lowell Sun, correct, Maren?
This hearing notice would have been in the Eagle Independent.
Yeah.
Not the Lowell Sun.
Not the Lowell Sun.
No.
Okay.
But you'd have to dig.
I get the
for it.
Lowell Sun. But I'm sorry, I'll bring this up. Legal notices are very tedious to read. You have to read through Chelmsford, Westford, everybody else. So, I think that should be a better way to notify people, but it is what it is. I do have one question for Mr. Giannotti. Giannetta, I'm sorry. I don't see anything about lighting for the site. I'm a little concerned that being the distance I am from there, it's going to be looking like, I don't know, very well lit up. Like I've seen others, and it's like Las Vegas. Obviously, for security concerns, I'm just wondering what the lighting pollution type considerations are.
So we have, mainly we intend on using existing lighting that's there now. If you drive by there now, well, you're right there. You're
I can
at
see it.
Beaverbrook.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'm going to say it's lit up appropriately to protect from a security standpoint. However, it is not lit up in such a way that should, inhibit your residents at number 2 or any of the residential neighbors along Beaverbrook for that matter. So the lighting really would not change too much. Technology in the cameras now are such that you're not really required to have an abundance of light shining to pick up the images. So, mainly we just intend on following the Cannabis Control Commission's guidelines with respect to lighting. And a lot of that is going to remain consistent with what is there now. So.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Barry.
All right. That's the extent of my questions.
Thank you. Also,
So
there's a lighting restrictions in the town of Littleton. They're going to have to adhere to our bylaw as far as lighting goes, down lighting, how many lumens it can be. It can't be a bright lit up, like you're saying, like Las Vegas. It can't be that. There's the building department, the building inspector will monitor the lighting situation out there to make sure that they're in compliance with our lighting bylaw as well as the Cannabis Control Commission's bylaw.
Okay.
Does anyone else have their hand up, Maren?
There are no other hand raised.
Does the board have any last questions or anything? We're going to send it over to town council. We're going to close the hearing and vote and condition it upon final wordage from town council. Is everybody good with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So does anyone want to make a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Anyone want to second that?
And
Okay. All those in favor of closing the public hearing signify by saying aye. Jeff? Anna?
yes,
Jerry?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Okay, do we want to vote to approve the CCC at, let me get the address right, 537 Great Road, the special permit, the Aquifer District Special Permit and Site Plan? Do you want to do them all or one at a time? Board have a preference? Maren, what do you want us to do? Can we do one at a time? You want them all?
All at once, please.
All at once. All right. So the retail marijuana establishment at 537 Great Road, the special permit for the retail marijuana establishment, the Aquifer District Special Permit and Site Plan for 537 Community Care Collaborative. All those in favor, please say yes. Anna?
yes,
Jeff? I think that was a yes. Jerry?
Yes.
And I am a yes. So we'll get the wordage finalized between both councils, which I think we're just about there. We'll get it. A little housekeeping. You're going to have to withdraw without prejudice 531 King Street. You can wait till 7 o'clock till our public hearing for that one, or I guess you could probably tell us right now that your intention is to withdraw without prejudice 531 King Street.
The intention is to withdraw once we have the permit and the appeal periods expired.
Okay.
when would that be?
That would be 21 days after this decision is filed with the office of the town clerk if no one files notice of appeal.
Okay. Okay, so we'll,
You can just continue that hearing generally when you get to it.
at 7 o'clock. Okay. Board have any last questions or anything before we move on? If not, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for
Thank you.
taking care of all our questions and concerns and giving us a nice package at the end that we could all relate to. Thank you all. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good night.
Look,
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, we're a little late, 6:45, continue public hearing. Water Resource District Special Permit 534 and 550 King Street, the Tuttle House.
Okay, so people keep moving around when I'm changing. Katie Madison.
You got it bad, my cigar keeps going out.
Promote. So Dave Ketchen, if you would move Mark Vaughn back to attendee for a moment. Katie, who else are you expecting on your team?
Just me tonight. Oh, Madison's here too. Sorry, Madison just popped up.
And I think Michael Creighton is on as well.
Oh, Michael's on too? Okay, so look for Michael Crichton also.
No, nobody with that name in the list. If he was present, he could raise his hand. No. Anyway, this is not a new public hearing. It's continued, so I don't need to read the notice.
Do you have anything new to add from what you gave us a month ago?
Nope, there's nothing new.
And so the intention is to break off which we're going to do very shortly after that. Break off the piece so that you can market the Tuttle House.
That is correct.
Okay. How much are you going to leave with the Tuttle House?
If I may, I can pull up my screen. This is the plan here today. So there's about 1.5 acres.
Okay. And what have you decided to do about your percent impervious with the bigger parcel? Are we going to dig up some pavement? Or are you going to, I think that was the only issue we had with this. We saw it the last time.
I believe, Mr. Chair, the last time what we were asking for was basically a less than 1% increase in impervious surface on 550 King. After essentially when we create these lots 1 and lot 2, that would increase the impervious slightly on lot 2, which is the larger lot, 3 acres. And what was requested was that we add a note to the A&R plan that stated as such. And that note is contained here.
Okay. Okay. Does the board have any questions? I know last we talked, there was a little bit of concern about the peach trees, about, wasn't a whole lot. I mean, this is pretty straightforward. We've had it before us a number of times over the years. The house was renovated and now it's basically not, it was used by Digital back in the day as a corporate office. Now it's of little use, and I believe they want to try to get somebody in there to at least live there since it's been, not live there, but to have a business there since it's all been renovated a number of years ago. Does anyone on the board have any questions or concerns about what's going on here?
I do. Can you hear me?
Okay, Mara, can you get Jeff up?
Yeah. For some reason, his microphone isn't very good at the moment. It's not coming through.
Okay. Oh, wait.
Mr. Chair, just if I may, there was an easement plan also that we had offered to bring this evening, and that might be the question that's coming up, but essentially there was a conversation about a lot of cross easements that would need to take place between the two properties. So I could also introduce this information to tonight, which just states that in these easement notes here, that essentially easements will be created by an attorney based on this plan and based on locations of existing utilities within the field. We don't have exacting locations on everything, so we wanted to make sure that they essentially were created to follow the utility lines. So as you can see, we have electric that comes from the larger property. We have water that comes from the larger property. We have stormwater on the Tuttle House lot that takes care of stormwater from the 40-acre property. And we also have wastewater that is treated by the wastewater treatment plant on the larger 40-acre property. So we had also submitted this with the A&R plan just to show you that we do intend on creating those cross easements.
Okay, thank you. While we wait for Jeff, Anna has her hand up. Anna, could you have a couple of questions?
Well, I have a question on this. So with those easements that are created for the utilities, what then happens when the property gets sold? I mean, does the easement continue on with the new property owner?
Yes, absolutely. So essentially, the easements will be granted to the property itself and will be kept in place essentially until they're no longer needed.
So they'll run with the property.
That's
Okay.
correct.
All right. I didn't see that on there, but didn't want to make that assumption. Real quick on the A&R application, I just wanted to mention that you all provided on page 3 and 4 the use information, and I think that that's the old one. The new one is was updated almost a year ago. So just as an FYI, because it does have a couple of changes to it.
Okay. Anything else? Go ahead, Anna. You don't have to raise your hand. I see you.
So on finding number 5 of, well, we're not at the decision yet. Sorry, I'll wait.
Okay. Jeff, are you, can we hear you now? Jeff, are you there? Maren, is Jeff there?
He's working on it. Just a moment.
I have an assistant working on it. Now, can you hear me?
Yes, much better.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
No, my concern was just in so much in terms of the utilities, it was mainly the drainage structures that are required, that are part of the larger parcels, operation. And, as long as it's designated and acknowledged, because while the site appears to be quite large, most of it's taken up by these drainage structures.
Okay. I believe that the larger parcel has intense drainage structures throughout with catch basins throughout the parking lot.
Yeah, and they drain into ponds on this A&R property.
Well, not all of it. There's no way all of that.
Not all, but they're pretty major.
Okay. Okay. So the easements are going to run both ways. They're going to run with
Yes.
the bridge and with this wastewater, with the water, and with the electric. So the easements will cut both ways, as they say. Anyone else? Does anyone else have any questions or concerns? Jerry, you good? I don't see him.
He
What?
says thumbs up.
What?
He was thumbs up.
All right. Anyone in the audience? Anyone have their hands up, Maren?
So there's nobody with their hand raised at the moment with questions or concerns.
Okay. All right. So then why don't we move on to the actual decision? Anna, now that we're at the decision, you have a question about the decision?
Well, I had a question about what was written under finding number 5, but I think that was already addressed because my question was going to be, you wrote in there, how does the proposed drainage reduce the threat to the environment? So I was just hoping you could explain that a little bit more.
You're asking that question. How does it? Obviously, the drainage has been design 20, 30 years ago. We've had no issues with it. The drainage is going to stay as is for both parcels. It's still going to be technically connected through the drainage, through the water, through all the utilities.
Yeah. I mean, the comment was written in there, so that's why I didn't know if there was something specific that was going to be done anew. It doesn't sound like it, though. Okay.
Katie, you're not going to do anything to the drainage, right? You're going to leave it the way it is?
That's correct. We're leaving it the way it is.
What about a maintenance contract? Who's going to be responsible? The larger parts are going to be responsible to make sure the drainage on the other, or is the maintenance of that drainage going to go with the A&R lot?
I would assume that there's going to also be, with the easement documents, there's also going to be an agreement as to maintenance, and it'll probably be based on, the amount of utilities and information or items that are contained, improvements that are contained within the Tuttle House lot, and then improvements that are contained within the 40-acre lot, to make sure that they're spread out equally.
Okay, so can we just make sure that there is some sort of language in there that maintenance of that detention, the drainage structures will be addressed by both parties?
Yeah, I can add that as a condition.
As a condition, so that when you do your utility easements, it's part of that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll put that in as a condition of approval.
So the final question that I have is around a question that I had been asked, and that is, how do we ensure preservation of this particular building? And so I think the big concern is that somehow this building, because it's being parceled off, is now perhaps at risk of being removed. So is there anything that
I believe, Anna, it's a historical building. So first of all,
Yeah, you can't remove it.
they can't just knock the building down. They're going to have to go through the process of it being a historical building and have a public hearing if they did want to demolish it. They did want to do an addition to it. I believe they'd have to go through the same thing just for the addition to make sure that it was in keeping with the building that's there now.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. I just
And-
needed to ask, so we have that out there.
All right. Well, correct. I mean, Maren, that's kind of how I'm looking at it. I'm pretty sure that it's definitely on our Littleton's historical register. It's been restored as a historical building. So I'm assuming that all the bells and whistles and all the guidelines that we put in to preserve the historicals are going to run with this, no matter who buys it and what they do with it.
Correct.
The only protection, there is protection, but it's really in the form of a demolition delay, and that's it, and that's a year. But it is part of the form-based code overlay district, which is a further protection on development. So
It's also part of the historical register of the common too.
Is it in the district?
Yeah.
It
I
is
thought
in
that
the,
line was out. Can we put it in?
Mhm.
Oh, it is in.
It is,
Oh,
okay.
I mean, I think ultimately that's probably the best protection. While the Tuttle House retains its form, there's not much left.
No,
I mean,
it still looks the same, but
it still looks the same, but
it's been moved a couple 100 feet forward.
yeah, and
It's been restored to look like what it looked like
sort of
150 years ago, but
Yeah.
but it's modernized. Okay,
But I mean, I think ultimately we would look to form-based code to,
for the protection.
protect our interests.
Okay.
Well, thank
Anyone else? Any other questions on this? We can get to the decision. Vote to approve the A&R with the conditions. Making sure we're all good with the conditions.
yeah, you had the draft decision for the Aquifer and Water Resource District for both 550 and 534 King Street. I had added just recently the percent impervious for both of those, and Katie had provided an address that I was missing. So that's all in the most recent draft. And then I'll add the condition about drainage, maintenance of the drainage system.
Okay, so then I'll entertain. Does someone want to make a motion that we approve the A&R for 550, 534 King Street? It's actually 534.
The Aquifer and Water Resource District special permit.
Special
First.
permit. Yeah. And you want to do that first and then we'll do the A&R? We'll do it that way? Or do you care? Well, let's do the Aquifer Water
You're-
Resource.
You're in the public hearing for the Aquifer district, so
Okay. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the Aquifer Resource Water District special permit for 550 and 534 King Street. Anyone want to make that motion?
We didn't have to close the hearing.
Oh, yeah, we should probably close the hearing first. Yeah, sorry about that. You want to make a motion to close the hearing? Again,
I move that we close the hearing for 550 and 534 King Street.
Aquifer
Second
District
motion.
Water Resource Special Permit? Great.
Yes.
All those in favor? Jeff?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Anna?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Okay, do I want to, I'll take a vote on the approval of the Aquifer Resource Special Permit for 550, 534 King Street. All those in favor? Anna?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
I'm a yes, okay. The A&R for 550, 534 King Street. All those in favor? Anna?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Okay, I guess we got all our homework done. All right, we'll send that off to town council. And you'll send us a copy of the easements and all of that to put in our files as well.
Yes, you have a copy of that drawing.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have 7 o'clock. We're a little late, but we're going to continue that. So we have a 7 o'clock public hearing, 289 Great Road, Village Common, 4 base code.
let's not jump over the 7 o'clock A, the 531 King Street continued public hearing.
I said that.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you want to continue? You want a date specific, don't you?
Yes,
Yeah, all right. So let's continue that till April, May. When's our next meeting? May 6th?
May 6th is the next meeting, is the,
Why don't we'll continue that till May 6th. You're right. I should have been date specific.
yeah, a time certain, a date certain, so shall we just 6:45 for that?
Yeah, we'll put it on first thing. Hopefully we'll be over and done with it. Okay. 6:45. Okay. We're good? You good with that, Mara, now?
Thank you.
On track, okay. 7 o'clock, public hearing, 289 Great Road, Village Common, special permit, site plan review. Do you want to read it?
Yeah,
Before you go, I will recuse myself from sitting on this hearing. I've had advice from the State Ethics Commission and the town clerk and Maren. I am an abutter, and however, as an abutter, I do have the right to sit and watch the hearing and speak on my behalf. If I, over the course of these hearings, make comments, it would be reflective just of my opinion. So Maren is going to put me into the participant pool rather than the panelist pool. And then once you're done, I'll come back as a panelist.
What's that going to do with our special permit, Maren?
Delisa said that she's happy to review the tape and be present the next time. You
Okay.
can check with the applicant, see if they're good with that.
Okay, she's agreeing to be Mullinized?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so give me a few minutes, change Jeff. And actually, if somebody else wouldn't, while I'm bringing people in, maybe somebody else could read the notice. Or just give me a minute till I get there.
You put it,
Okay. Mark one.
Do you want me to read it, Maren?
do you have it, Anna?
I have it. It's up to Maren.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is dated March 15th. So the Town of Littleton Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Thursday, April 8, 2021 at 7 p.m. to consider the application for special permit pursuant to MGL Chapter 40A in the Code of the Town of Littleton zoning. The application is for sidewalk curb cuts under Section 173-224H of the Village Common Form-Based Code and site plan review under Section 173-16 through 173-19 of Littleton zoning bylaws. Property location is 289 Great Road, map U7, parcel 22-0, applicant Northern Bank and Trust Company. Property owners are 289 Great Road Realty Trust. The applicant is seeking special permit approval to allow redevelopment and use of underutilized property in the Village Common Form-Based Code District. The proposed project includes development of a new bank building with stormwater and utility improvements, bank drive-through, parking, and site landscaping as shown on the plan. Work would also include demolition of the existing building at this site.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, can we check that I have everybody from the team promoted?
Mark, anyone else on your team? Do you need them?
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Chairman. I think we should have Sean Malone of
Mahoney?
Firm.
Okay, just a moment.
Dan Barton.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I think Sean Mahoney from Northern Bank and Trust may also be on.
Yeah, he's there now.
Okay.
Okay, I think you have me now.
Thank you. So who's going to present?
Great. Well, why don't I start if I could, Mr. Chairman? So for the record, attorney Mark Vaughn with the law firm of Reamer Bronstein here tonight representing Northern Bank and Trust and 289 Great Road Realty Trust, the property owner, in connection with the application. Very pleased to be before you tonight in connection with this. So the applicant's proposing a redevelopment of the property located at 289 Great Road. The demolition of that existing building and improvements associated with therewith to accommodate the construction of a new full-service bank branch with drive-through. As you know, I think from last year, we followed with great interest the town's successful efforts and that of this board in adopting the new Village Common zoning. And we're very excited to bring forward this proposal as we feel that not only will it be a appropriate reutilization of this property, which meets the goals and objectives of the Village Common zoning, but we also feel that it could serve as a catalyst to further for further reinvestment along that corridor. So have a few folks here that I'll be asking in a minute to present, but Sean Malone as well as Dan Barton. But before I do that, I'm sure you know Northern Bank and Trust presently has its branch location in Littleton, just a few doors down. This would provide them the ability to construct a new, attractive branch for them to provide the best experience for its customers, many of whom are obviously residents of the town of Littleton. I don't know if you could bring up the site plan, perhaps, but I was going to just make reference to the property location and it's being somewhat of a unique configuration, but it is a large triangular shaped lot. It's about 2/3 of an acre in size with significant.
You want me to show it?
If you could, that would be great. Someone, I don't know who's got.
Myron, are you trying to bring it up or who? Jerry is. Okay.
That's great. Yeah. So it's that large corner property there. It's about 2/3 of an acre in size, and it has significant frontage along Great Road and Robinson Road. Site currently contains a one-story, approximately 3,400 square foot commercial building. I think it was previously used as a greenhouse and a flower shop, from what I understand. As Sean and Dan will speak to, the unique configuration of this lot does allow us to provide a building layout which is respectful of the abutting residential neighborhood, providing extensive landscaping, and then also providing that interactive frontage along the primary commercial district. As Dan can speak to, the vision prescribed in the bylaw in terms of architectural design, we think has been met. And also there is enhanced pedestrian capability that we're providing with new pedestrian accommodations, including an expansive 10-foot wide sidewalk along the Great Road frontage. So the bank use itself is allowed by right, subject to site plan approval. However, we have included a special permit application for the curb cuts, as I think the board is aware under your bylaw. You are required to get a special permit for that. We're eliminating what's today a pretty wide, expansive curb cut on Great Road. It's about 100 feet in width, I think, and repositioning that as a more conventional design, compliant design. And then we are also providing a left turn exit only driveway exit on Robinson Road along our property, which would really just be used by folks that would be using the drive-through, as other customers of the bank would be able to use Great Road for entrance and exit for the most part. But rather than my babbling on here and us getting repetitive in the presentation, I thought it might be best if I could just have Sean quickly walk through the site plan, and then turn it over to Dan to share the architectural renderings with you. So, Sean?
Yes, Maren, can I have control so I could walk through the site plans? All right.
Actually, I did want to ask one question, if I could, Maren or Mr. Chairman. So you're missing a board member this evening, is that correct?
Yes, we have one missing, Delisa, because Jeff is a direct abutter and he has decided to recuse himself. So Delisa will watch the tape and Mullinize herself and be available.
Okay.
In the tape to vote on this and to be available for the next public hearing.
Okay, great.
For a special permit.
Understood. All right. Thank you.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sean Malone. I'm with Oak Consulting Group. I'm a civil engineer for the project. And I would like to just briefly go through the proposed site plan and then turn it over to Dan to talk a little bit more about the architecture and overall site context. What you're seeing right now is the existing conditions, what's out there today. This is an approximately 0.67 acre parcel located right at the corner of Robinson Road and Great Road. I'm sure the board is familiar with the site. Is it approximately 3,400 square foot building at the center of the site, a little bit closer to the Robinson Road side, with a 100-foot curb cut along Great Road that used to serve as a parking area for the former uses here. The site is on septic. It has municipal water from Robinson Road as well as overhead electric. There's some site lighting at the site right now that basically consists of floodlights on utility poles. Northern Bank is proposing to redevelop the site with a new bank branch. As you're probably aware, there is a existing bank branch approximately 600-700 feet down Great Road. So that branch would obviously go out of service, and this would be the new Northern Bank branch. The site has been designed to accommodate the uniqueness of this parcel. It's a triangle parcel, rather unique, with not only having the two frontages, but it comes to a point right at Great Road. So we've positioned the building to serve somewhat as an entranceway, a welcome into the Village Common District. And Dan will go into a little bit more about the layout of the building and the design of the building. Would be proposing to close the existing curb cut here and recurb the roadway and have a single curb cut on Great Road. This would be a 20-foot drive aisle. It would flare out to about 23.5 feet at the right-of-way line. So this would meet the regulations. We have 9 surface parking spaces shown, one which is a handicap accessible, van accessible as required, and then 2 drive-through lanes. One would be an ATM, the other would be a in-person teller. We also have a 9-foot bypass lane. If someone was to get into the wrong or get into the lane and choose not to wait, they could bypass out the site. This bypass has been designed with a curvature to deter anybody from taking a right-hand turn up Robinson Road. And this would just be a one-way exit. There would be no entrance into the site from this egress. Part of the design of this egress was to try to preserve this tree where my cursor is right now. That's a 20-inch maple tree. It's actually a very nice tree if you get out there and see it in the spring and summertime. So we wanted to preserve that to help buffer the site from the residents on Robinson Road. We're also showing on the site plan a dumpster enclosure at the rear of the site, as well as this potential for a future connection to the abutting commercial properties. We're showing this just as a future location. The design of this would be incorporated into any future development of those parcels, which are owned by the bank. And any required parking that had to come out of this site would be made up in proximity, so it would still be compliant. Skip to the stormwater design on this site. Includes an infiltration basin. This would just be a grassed infiltration basin at the rear of the site with sediment forebays on either side where the runoff is coming in. This is all surface drainage, kind of a country drainage, LID type feel. So we have no subsurface structures. And then it would just infiltrate through this basin and then discharge onto the abutting property and down into the drainage way where it currently does. The drainage design does not increase any of the rate of flow or volume of flow from the site. So we meet the regulations as well as the TSS removal. We're also showing some depressed areas in the lawn area in the front, which would also accept stormwater from the roof of the building that would then be able to be infiltrated. We're proposing the building get new utility services from Great Road, a new water service, a new gas line. We're also showing the sewer service going out to Great Road. This is anticipating the sewer project that the town has been working on the last few years. If for whatever reason the sewer project doesn't move forward, the bank would still move forward with this project and would design a septic system to serve the site. It's a bank, a very small use, and we've taken a look at where we could site this, and we don't have any concern of being able to design a system that would be Title V compliant. At that time, if we went that way, we'd obviously submit it to the town for review. We've also included a landscape plan. This is showing the preservation of existing trees along Robinson Road, as well as at the corner of Robinson and Great Road, as well as new plantings around the site, both trees and shrubs. We're including an evergreen screen along the boundary with the abutting residential property as required by the bylaw. And this residential property is owned by the bank, but we're still respecting the full compliance with the regulations in that regard. I think at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Dan Barton of Margot Architects to talk a little bit about the building.
Thank you, Sean. Can you all hear me clearly?
Yes.
Fantastic. So if it's okay, I'll also share my screen. Sean, I don't know if you need to relinquish.
Let me, I believe I do. Let me figure out how to do that. Stop
I
sharing.
don't know if I could just share
All right.
on top.
We're good.
Fantastic. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you for the introduction, Sean. Again, Dan Barton from Mogul Architects in Harvard. I have to say it's really a pleasure to be here this evening. I've been looking forward to this meeting because it's really the culmination of about 3 years of planning and visioning work that's gone on for this property that we're looking at tonight, and also a little bit of a larger corridor along Great Road. When we first spoke with the good folks at Northern Bank, Jim, the president of the bank, had a vision, and the vision was that he wanted to create a beautiful branch that really found its place as the community bank in Littleton, and he wanted to make sure it was placed in the location that had a relationship to the town common, and that had a design, character, scale, and overall aesthetic that was appropriate in the town. Then came along the planning for the Village Common District, and a lot of factors came together in generating, a larger vision plan for a bigger piece of property. But really, one of the cornerstones of it was this particular branch at the corner. From the very get-go of some of the planning exercises, we looked at a number of alternative sites for placement of the branch, and this corner, and because of its relationship pointing toward the town green, was really always the top winner each time we looked at different alternatives. As was mentioned in the package with our narrative, the intention is for the design of the branch to respect and enhance the character of the town center. This particular piece of property, as Sean has mentioned, and as did Mark, is triangular in shape. It's a unique parcel. It comes to a very, very sharp point, and it's an elongated triangle. Because of the relationship of Robinson Road and Great Road and the properties along both sides, the rotation of this bank to be not parallel with Great Road was very intentional. It was intentional to create something that was a bit more dynamic, both from the design and character of the building, but also making sure that it had a relationship, given its human scale, to the Robinson neighborhood. So actually the bank is tilted to be almost parallel with some of the first properties along Robinson Road, one of those which is a historic property owned by the town. It, I think, is quite evident that the building is a very simple structure, simple pitched roof with some add-on accessory elements. It is intended to evoke an interpretation of an iconic New England barn, but with a more modern design aesthetic, so that it's fresh and new, has a lot of glass. Speaking to the glass, the intention is that it's supposed to be expansive, which is in consideration both of creating a welcoming branch for the bank, but also to make sure that we're in compliance with the guidelines of the overlay district, which is to create buildings that have a lot of glazing so that they're welcoming and so that they have a presence with a pedestrian character along the streetscape. So to flip through a couple of images here, and I see that there's text on top of my Sean, did you learn a way to flip pages when the overlay text is on the screen?
I did not experience that same situation.
Okay, yeah, so as I'm talking, the words are showing up and captions on the screen, and they're on top of the commands. So let's see if we do this. Bear with me a moment, please.
I think there's a button that says live transcript at the bottom there. If you hit hide subtitle, Dan.
Okay. A live transcript. Where did you see that, Sean?
Down at the bottom.
I don't see that.
This is Dave from LCTV. It's at the bottom of your Zoom window. There should be some icons down there.
Let's see.
It should pop up when you put your cursor all the way at the bottom, Dan, where you control video and audio.
You know what? It's at the top of my screen.
Okay.
So I just go to
go to, it says CC live transcript and click on that. There should be a hide subtitles option.
I'm sorry, I don't see it. I've got the pull down menu. I'm seeing mute, stop video, participants, new share, pause share.
You might need to stop sharing in order to get to the CC button.
Yeah, I was just yeah.
It's new to us too.
Okay, well, we're all going through the same thing these days.
Isn't technology terrific?
Okay, so do I do new share? No.
Dan, will the up and down arrow buttons on your computer pad?
Yeah, thanks, Anna. I tried that. I thought if I went into presentation mode, it would work. So did I stop sharing or are you still seeing my screen?
I stopped it for you.
Okay, thank you. And then you said it's going to say CC.
Down at the bottom should be participants, share screen, record, live transcript.
There it is. Yep. Hide subtitle. Thank you, folks. I learned something today. Okay, now I can do screen share again. Great. Are we back?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you all for your patience during that. So as we look at the first image, this is as seen from Great Road as you're heading towards the town green. And as I mentioned previously, the main body of the bank is very much a simple New England barn type box with a pitched roof, but it has a number of add-on accessories. One thing I'd like to point out in this image, Sean did a nice job describing how the driveway and the drive-through work and the bypass lane. In this image, you'll actually see that there's a red vehicle shown in that bypass lane that Sean mentioned. After some recent comments from public safety, we now know that we would not extend the roof line in that last section of the pass-through lane so that we could allow for an emergency vehicle to get through and not have any head obstruction. So really, we would just reduce the overall length of that overhang. We don't need that last lane to serve as a teller line or an ATM line. It really is just the bypass lane. So there's no need to have that cover. So that is something that we would modify as we're moving forward with the design. As you're looking at Robinson Road, again, seeing now the drive-through on the left-hand side of the image, you can see that very intentionally the building was designed that the larger windows are brought down to a more residential scale as they face the Robinson Road neighborhood. It's just a simple one-story lean-to attached to the larger main building element behind. And as Sean mentioned, intentionally to have some landscape. We are showing in this image a small garden wall, which we think would be a nice feature along Robinson. But as the landscape design is finalized, we can see if that still makes sense to do it. But we have in this image also placed some of the large trees that Sean had mentioned in their accurate locations. As seen from the town common, a vision that the bank had from the very beginning was also that the bank branch should have outdoor garden space, a place for people to gather, a nice place for people who work in the bank to go and have lunch, people in the neighborhood to be. So we are envisioning some type of a green space out in front of the bank. At the moment, through the site design, we've connected a few walkways through there to the Robinson neighborhood. Whether they are in that exact location or not will be determined again as the design evolves a bit. But it suffices to say that we had the vision of the main front elevation of the bank facing the town green, being glazed and open, almost deconstructing the barn a little bit with some of the structural elements that create the porch out front, and then to have it front onto a beautiful green space, as seen at the street level instead of from a little bit of a bird's eye, and also gives you a bit of context towards the subway up the street. So although the building has been intentionally turned and rotated to have an alignment because of its scale with some of the properties on Robinson Road, the fact that the accessory elements of the bank have been added on, in particular, that portion which becomes the building entrance and a bump out on the Great Road side, it really does have a relationship to the Great Road corridor. It's just not parallel. And we also made sure to put into your package a number of elevations because we wanted to make sure to calculate the glazing areas, to show where we were at with height, and to give just a two-dimensional picture of each of the building facades. So those calculations were run on this sheet and provided in your package. We did not run the glazing calculation on the Robinson Road side because we looked at that as a different face of the bank relative to the guidelines for the overlay district. With that, unless there are specific questions, I'll pass it back to you, Mark.
Yeah, no, thank you, Dan and Sean. So I think that from our perspective, Mr. Chairman and board members, that's our presentation, if you would. But we're happy to answer any questions or address any comments that that you may have relative to what you've heard or seen.
I have questions.
Okay.
How many runs a day are going to pass through that drive-through and exit onto Robinson Road?
We don't have an exact number of what that would be. I know as part of the material that was submitted by Sean Malone, there was some traffic data that was included in there, and just pull that up briefly here, but it's not a high traffic generator at all. I mean, this isn't a a drive-through restaurant, right, where you would typically see a lot of drive-through activity. So I mean, the data that was submitted indicates that according to ITE, the traffic would be, let's see, just have it out here. So during the, take 370 trips per day, but that's broken down between trips coming in and coming out, right? So.
Oh, look, I'm going to stop you right there. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. I'm not voting for any exit traffic on Robinson Road. I'm just not supporting that, period.
Okay, so I mean, I guess all I could say to that is that the design of this has been, thought well through in terms of making sure that we're only going to be having vehicles that would be using the drive-through, taking a left out onto Robinson Road. And, we're at the end of Robinson Road. There's really no reason for anyone that is exiting to take a right, unless you happen to live down Robinson Road. But, and then there's no entrance into that curb cut on Robinson either. So it would be exit only, left turn only, and the way the site is designed is it's really only drive-through traffic that would be taking that left turn out. And we just feel that that makes the site operationally, from a safety perspective and whatnot, just function a lot better.
Okay. Does any of the rest of the board have any questions? Anna, do you have any questions or concerns?
I do. I think that we also have quite a few folks out there, so I will temper mine given the time that we have. So I want to thank you all. Mr. Vaughn, good to see you again. I know that a little bit of history for folks who might be watching this evening. So in December of 2019, folks from Planning Board and Select Board and had an opportunity to meet with President Mon, and then we also had a meeting with the Littleton Business Association and the Rotary. And during that time frame, I think it was really important that we heard directly from President Mon about how he wanted to be a cornerstone of the community. And so I really appreciate that you all are here, and I would love to see you all to be successful and to be a cornerstone in the Littleton community. However, I do think that typically speaking, when I look at any application, I ask myself, so is this good for Littleton? And absolutely, I mean, we would like to be able to keep Northern Bank in the community, and we would like to be able to see your expansive redevelopment in the area. In this case, and then after I ask myself that question, I say, okay, so where does this application come in on all of our bylaws? And in this case, the bylaw is the new form-based code. And I would say that the answer to that is, I think we're almost there. So with that in mind, I hear what my peer, Mr. Portante, has to say. And I would say that I have serious concerns about that and wonder whether or not a different mode of design could be considered to be able to have both the entrance and the exit coming out of the same way. I don't know what that would look like, but as I heard Mr. Portante talking about it, that's what I was thinking about looking at the picture. This design is lovely. However, it's not quite Littleton. And I really appreciate the glass, the fenestration, and we have a very high percentage. As let me make sure, as Dan, the architect, pointed out, it is something that is in form-based code. We ask for a very high percentage of glass. I'm just wondering whether or not the west-facing glass is actually maybe a bit too much for what is typical, or what we would typically see here in Littleton.
Excuse me, just a minute. Jerry got dropped from the call.
Okay.
I'm sorry about that. We have technical difficulties. We need to wait till Jerry gets back in.
Okay.
I just told him to try to rejoin. He just texted me that he got dropped.
Okay, well, let's see. He's back. He's trying to get back in. Let me move to panelists. Okay.
It's a technical difficulty kind of night, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Okay, Jerry's back. Thank you for letting me know.
10 seconds too before I realized I was gone.
So Jerry, I was just talking. Can I just finish up real quick if you have something else that you'd like to say?
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So as I was saying, I think that this design is lovely, and from the glass perspective, we do want lots of light into our buildings. I know that on the first floor, our fenestration percentage is a minimum of 60%, but on the second floor, it's a maximum of 25%. And I would just like to ask if you all can take a look, especially on that west side, that perhaps can be reduced a little bit or reconfigured to other parts. And then I would say, with respect to the modern design, again, it is a modern design. It is not totally reflective of what we see in Littleton. So if you could take a look at that also. So those are my initial comments. Thank you.
Okay,
So I'll finish what I was saying. So anyways, outside of that entrance, that's my only objection. I have no problems with look and feel. It's great architecture. It looks like it's aesthetic. Outside of that, that's my only objection. That's it.
Okay, I guess I'll weigh in, then we'll open it up to the public. I hear what Anna's saying. I think Anna's, and she's trying to be nice. She doesn't like the ends all over the place. Maybe that's a little too much. The glass, I personally like the glass, but I can see it trying to be a little more rustic rather than futuristic. I hear what she's saying. As far as this site and this particular location, it's on a triangle. There was really no way to put a drive-through, I don't see, and have it come back out on Great Road and look like as a cornerstone, beautiful building. There is professional offices on the other side of this. We're talking the end of Robinson Road. Robinson Road isn't strictly a residential road. There's commercial establishment at the end of it. This to me is minimal going through the drive-through. And I would like, if anything, I would make it so that the only vehicles that could go that way would be maybe one one vehicle going through the drive-through or an ATM at the other end, which is what you're proposing. No other way for any other vehicles. All of them take that left-hand turn and go the 100 feet down Robinson Road to get back out to Great Road. It's the cornerstone of a parcel that we're hoping will revitalize the common. This is the first piece of it. I'd like people not to lose sight of the fact that we're trying to reestablish the common area, make it walkable, put more amenities out there. Start with this one, go with the next one, all the way to the empty digital credit union building that's been sitting there empty for 3.5 years. This is the first piece of it, and I hear you about not wanting to minimize everything on Robinson Road, but I think the 100 feet at the end of it is probably the best we could hope for that.
All right, but Mike, you're putting a drive-through bank, right? You're trying to increase pedestrian use, and the first thing you're adding to that is a drive-through bank. That's a total
bank in Littleton.
How does that even fit in the master plan for downtown?
Every bank in the town of Littleton has a drive-through, and if you've noticed
I understand that, but I'm saying is, if you're making that argument, this bank is not the right product for that spot. Then, if you want a pedestrian-friendly, low-traffic experience, you don't put in another drive-through bank. We already have tons of those.
Well, this is replacing one that's already in town.
I understand that, but you're putting it in an area that impacts a residential neighborhood and impacts pedestrian traffic negatively. It doesn't improve it.
I beg to differ with you. I think there's
more traffic. 370 runs a day. So how is that improving it?
It's not going to be 300. So you're not going to have 370 people going.
You don't know that. You have to go off the estimate, just like we did with the other applicant. I mean, come on.
We just got through a pandemic where everybody couldn't go inside a bank and everyone went through the drive-through. You didn't see lines all over the place with people backed up.
We're a municipality. We're supposed to be planning in perpetuity, not because we have the recent pandemic. 5 years from now, no one's gonna care about it.
The drive-through didn't impact any other location in the town of Littleton through this pandemic. Why are you saying that all of a sudden 370 people are going to go through the drive-through? They're not. It's going to be a convenience for some of the residents. Most people go inside the bank and use the bank, come out.
It's more traffic in a residential neighborhood. That's all I'm saying. You can't say it's less.
I think it's a great location to put the bank on that peninsula right there, coming down the common. It looks beautiful as you come up to it, coming up from the common. Fits in well. I understand Anna wants to see it a little more New England-y, local. I get that. I agree with her. I don't think the ends everywhere and the glass everywhere is the issue, but I think the drive-through is critical, and I don't think it's going to be that big an impact on Robinson Road. That's my personal opinion.
That's your personal opinion. I'll be off the board after this month, so you guys can wait me out. So you take whatever I'm telling you a grain of salt. But to me, this is an anti-pattern of how we sold form-based code. If that's how you want to apply it, good luck trying to get anything else through.
We have to start somewhere. If we're going to write,
start just like you started with senior housing. We'll do it all over again.
You got to get.
You could do a better job than this. Don't put more traffic onto a residential road and say, "Oh, that's a success for form-based code." You're not helping the cause.
It's a unique situation here. It's the unique.
And you're making it worse.
I'm not making it worse. There's already commercial on the other side of this building. There's two office buildings. There's a dental office and I believe a commercial building.
I said
it's already coming in and off of Rothman.
I said my piece. You guys, you can do what you want.
If I could just maybe say one thing. So again, I want to emphasize that it's exit only, left turn only, out. And the number that I gave you before for daily trips, I mean, that's for the bank in total. So that's for people that are coming in to do business. There's a walk-in ATM as well. So the drive-through ATM is not going to be used by everyone that's looking to utilize an ATM. And it's just not a high traffic generator in terms of that. And the other thing I would note that, in your code, it does have as part of the special permit for curb cuts to, if efforts, one of the findings is if efforts have been made to locate the new curb cut on a side street rather than Great Road, King Street, Meeting House Road, or Stevens, which shall be discovered. So my understanding is that, the desire here is to, try to prevent multiple curb cuts on Great Road where you could have conflict, and if there's an opportunity to, provide a safer situation. And just back to the chairman's point on this is that, we are at the end of Robinson where that comes out. It's, there's no need for people to come out and take a right, and there's no ability for people to drive down Robinson and take a right in. So I do want to just reiterate that.
All right. So there's obviously a larger plan here, right? So if this is your first piece in the redevelopment on that side, what's the rest of it going to look like? Because if you're making an argument based on just this development and not what the future of downtown is going to look like, we could be making a mistake. If you want this to be the anchor building on some redevelopment down that road, what's the master plan then? And is this really the appropriate building in that location because it happens to fit the drive-through bank? What if it doesn't fit in well with the rest of the form-based code build out of the downtown? I mean, you got to think about all these things because this is only going to increase traffic. What if that downtown Littleton does become a traffic destination, Mark? People are going to be turning around in the most convenient place, and you know what that road does every day at 3:30 to 5 o'clock post-COVID.
They're not going to come in there to bang you.
Why wouldn't they bank? You're driving home. It's 75,000 trips a day. I mean, Market Basket put themselves there for a reason.
Can I speak for a moment just to design of the building and respond to a few of the comments that have come up aside from the drive-through?
Okay.
Is that okay?
Sure. Then we'll
Mr. Chair. Thank you so much. In terms of appropriateness in the overlay district for this particular project on this site, I really want to point out that the scale of this building is very similar to the building that was previously on this site, which is very compatible with the scale of the homes that are in the neighborhood. When you look at the vision that's in the overlay district, it often has larger buildings where, in fact, the first floor of the building was envisioned 14 to 16 feet with another story on top of that, and then some space in the roof line. We chose this site because the bank is actually a smaller building, very much in a human scale, and we felt that it blended nicely with the character of that neighborhood. There were a couple of comments about modern, and I did use the word a more modern design aesthetic. However, maybe I failed to mention the fact that this iconic, sort of barn or deconstructed barn that we're talking about, it has very conventional New England details, very conventional roof overhangs. It's all made out of conventional siding materials and trim. Even the areas that are glass are broken down with structure in a very conventional sort of post and beam way. So the building actually does have a bit of a rustic flair to it. It's just intended to be more dynamic and contemporary, and it's in the way that it's being applied to this particular site. But I feel like when you start to zoom in and see, clapboard siding, regular corner boards, conventional roofing materials, and that, in the package of this overall scale, I feel like it very much is speaking to the sort of rustic New England vernacular that's part of Littleton, but also the vision that's embodied in the overlay district talks about things not all being the same, being fresh, being different, being unique, so that it doesn't look all cookie cutter along the way. Last, I just want to express, there was a comment about the ends. We have vetted none of the signage approach with Northern Bank. It's on the building to brand the building because it is Northern Bank's beacon in the community. We haven't gone through any elaborate design. We clearly wanted to make sure that Northern Bank was on the building. We did something a little whimsical and playful with the N up in the cupola, whether it's there or not, that has not been vetted with the bank. So I just want to be clear that the bank was not proposing as part of this presentation their signage program for this particular property.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay.
Hey, Mike.
I'm going to let Anna speak, and then I'm going to open up to the public.
Actually, Mark, I was going to say we have an 8 o'clock continued public hearing that you might want to open, and then we can resume.
Maren, they've asked to be continued, correct? Maren, you're mute. You're mute, Maren.
Sorry about that. For the 30 Taylor Street, we don't have any new information to date. So I would recommend we continue for at least a month, if not two.
All right, we'll put them on for the May 6th meeting, and we'll take a little bit more time with this. Do you have any other questions, Anna, or can I open it up to the public?
Well, I just did have one quick question, it's actually a question that I had discussed earlier today with Maren, and that is the reference that was made earlier about the curb cuts on Robinson Road. And so we're looking at 173-224H A number 3. And that particular question is to whether or not we want to discourage traffic from going onto side streets, or we want to discourage traffic from going onto the 4 main streets that are addressed. And what I heard the applicant say is that they are looking at this, that we are trying to discourage traffic to go onto the 4 main streets. I think it's the other way around. We are trying to discourage the traffic from going onto the smaller side streets.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, it's,
Okay, so there are 3 attendees with hands raised. Borba?
Would you
Hi,
state
okay.
your name and your address, please, for the record?
Yeah, my name is Marco Borba. I'm on 29 Robinson Road. I appreciate you guys giving me a moment to speak here. There's a few things that I wanted to bring up. The first being is that I do appreciate the aesthetics of the building. I think it's beautiful. And on that corner, it's certainly something that is long overdue. So we do appreciate having a significant upgrade there. What I want to call out, though, is a reminder of a couple of things. Number one is that exit, that curb cut that goes onto Robinson Road, that's left turn only, does exit 1 right in front of the house that you can see right through that middle ATM line, which is a family that has a brand new baby that frequently goes on walks with strollers. When you take the left there, that goes right to the bus stop for the kids on Robinson Road. And there is one building that is the dental office. That's the only building that is an operating business. And if you are there at any time during the day, you'll see 10 vehicles parked lined up Robinson Road, thus creating more obstacles for additional traffic that's passing through that really short run of road. So we have kids that are there, a bus that goes there, traffic from what will now be a bank that has the potential of having 165 vehicles passing through. And I understand that it's an estimate, but as this image that I'm looking at illustrates right now, we can see that there's vehicles that they are showing that are passing through a bypass lane and not using the ATM. And that is the path of least resistance to take a left onto Robinson Road. And additionally, when I was looking at the site plan, I see that they're accommodating what looks like a queuing line for about 6 vehicles, which means that they're anticipating 6 vehicles at any given time going through the teller and the ATM. And so that means they acknowledge that there's potential of 6 vehicles at any one time passing through and taking a left onto Robinson Road, in addition to any of the other patrons that are shopping the bank. And the last thing I'd want to remind everyone of is ITMs have grown significantly across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts since COVID-19 has happened. And if you all remember, DCU over at the Point had some significant traffic increases where they required police details to manage the queuing lines that happened to use their ATM. And I don't anticipate that changing, getting any better by adding more banks with ATMs on them. So that's what I wanted to contribute. Thanks. I appreciate the time.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see, Mark Beckler.
Hi, Mark Beckler, 33 Robinson Road. I kind of want to echo Marco Borba's comments here that, love the design that Dan and his team put together for this building. It's way better than an abandoned greenhouse that's been there for years. But, my point is that, earlier this year or late last fall, we met with the bank. They were courteous enough to come out and meet with the neighbors and discuss the plans for this property. Our primary concern was that drive-through, not necessarily necessarily, with anything else with the development of that property beyond parking for other adjacent future lots. But, I'm just disappointed with the bank that they ignored our primary concern, which is the fact that this is a residential road with lots of families that, use it regularly, walking, riding bikes, that sort of thing. And even that last 100 feet does impact the families on that road because there is a bus stop there. Years ago, the buses of Littleton stopped coming down our road because it was too tight for the buses to be able to turn around at the end of the road. So all the families go to the end of the road, 2 to 3 times a day to pick up the bus, right? There's the Shaker Lane bus, there's the Russell Street, there's middle school, there's high school. All those families, they will be going down there throughout the day, and there'll be hours that there will be kids going back and forth past the driveway exit here. And I think that's a primary concern for the town and for this street. So that's really all.
Thank you. Maren?
Yep, check to coast.
Thanks, Maren. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I definitely appreciate the comments by Marco and Mark. Certainly, they've had a lot thrown at them in the last couple of years in this neighborhood. But I'd like to make some comments relative to the master plan, the fact that the bank has, in fact, to answer some of Mr. Patante's concerns, the bank has, in fact, presented some designs and some drawings of a plan, a very much a laid out plan for the entirety of their property from Robinson Road all the way down to where the existing bank is right now that abuts the now 3-year vacant DCU, 4-year vacant DCU building. So those plans, this would be the cornerstone. This would be the crown jewel really for the common if we were able to move forward with something like this. I do think it answers the bucolic. Bucolic was the word that everybody learned back when the master plan was being discussed, and all the vignettes and all the discussions and comments we had. We kept throwing the word bucolic around, and I think this very much meets that. There is a nice, clean. I'll use the word modern. There is a nice modern flair. We did ask for more glazing, and they answered that bell. I certainly understand the concerns of the neighbors. Perhaps there's some mitigating factors that could be put in place with. Well, I'll talk about the Great Roadside first. The 10-foot sidewalk should be put in place, which is in line with what we've laid out with the master plan and with this overlay district. And perhaps there could be something done on the Robinson Road side where there could be a bus stop incorporated down at the point of that grassy or green area, as Anna was referencing to the west, that goes down to where the opening where the bus stop is. Perhaps they could do some sidewalk or across to the Baker House, which the town owns next to the dentist's office, which, by the way, that Baker House, we have no idea what that's going to end up being. If it's something that there's been talks throughout the town that we would put in some sort of a cultural center, or it would in some way, shape, or form be some sort of commercial, whether it's owned by the town or owned by a private developer. There is the potential to have something in that building. And perhaps if the town does retain it, we could do something with parking to help with those 10 cars that I think it was Mr. Beckler or might have been Mr. Borba that was talking about the cars down at the dentist's office. Those are some things that we can certainly address to try to mitigate some of those risks. We certainly don't want to put any of the neighbors or the residents, or especially the children, at risk. The aesthetic and kind of getting this first chance to put some of our form-based code in place with a very willing partner who, to the residents' point, have been good corporate citizens. I empathize with the neighbors that if the number one thing that they were concerned about was the drive-through, I think that was addressed through the angling of the left turn only and the bump out, if you will, the curbing. Perhaps that could be tweaked a little bit more. Perhaps it's something that, that the town, the building commissioner, the highway director and the engineers can work on that to some degree. But overall, this is something that is exactly what Littleton is looking for. This is, kind of the keystone, the cornerstone of what we're looking to do with the redevelopment of the common. And that's exactly what we're looking to do, is we're looking to redevelop the common. And whether we end up getting sewer or not, the fact that the bank is saying that they're going to go forward with this and they'll find a way to make it work is a great corporate citizen as far as I'm concerned. They've been great to deal with up to this point down at the old branch, and I hope that we're able to figure out a way to make this project work.
Thank you, Mr. DeCoste. Maren, does anyone else have their hand up?
Yeah, Vanessa Strong.
Hi, so Vanessa Strong, 59 Gilson Road. Here, I guess, in 3 capacities: 1 as a citizen, 2 as a member of the Economic Development Board, and 3 as a member of the BPAC committee, which is the Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee. As a citizen, I love the attempts to redo the center. And I echo the same thoughts from the neighbors, that the greenhouse is an eyesore. In fact, even the northern building itself is not great looking either. So this helps a lot. I think on the economic development side, to Jerry's point, we do have to look at what's happening in the center, what kind of businesses we're bringing in. We're not bringing in another bank, in my view. We're just kind of moving this one, which I think is a good thing. I think on the BPAC side, very happy with the front sidewalks. I think that's going to be great. I do appreciate having 1 less cut, because that is a danger for pedestrians who are walking, meaning the current northern building has 2 cuts, 1 to go in and 1 to go out. If we lessen those, there's less of a chance of pedestrians getting hurt. So I appreciate that. I wondered, thinking along what Chuck had said, maybe there is a way we can reclaim some of the ground, maybe move the building or make it skinnier or something, so we can have a bus turnaround and a dedicated lane for walking and biking on the residential side. So it helps with people walking in and out of the dentist, whatever we do with the building on the town-owned building. And then any residents who are trying to get their kids from the bus stop, it's a safety buffer zone. In fact, we could build probably to help with mitigating that risk. So those are my thoughts. Hopefully that can be incorporated into the plan.
Thank you. Maren?
Yeah, Cynthia.
Couple more if we have them.
Napoli.
Who?
Evening, can you hear me?
Yes, Sandy.
Oh, hi, sorry, I can't see myself, so I don't know if my camera's up, but I apologize. I just wanted to let you know that I'm on the call. My name's Cindy Napoli. I'm chair of the Littleton Select Board, and I am also chair of the Master Plan Implementation Committee. And I want to thank Mr. Ma, Mr. Barton, and Mr. Malone for bringing back this proposal to the town. I've listened to all the comments that were presented tonight from the planning board members, from the residents, and other my fellow board members. And I agree with, a majority of the comments that were made this evening. I personally like the building. I grew up in Littleton. I think it's aesthetically pleasing. It's certainly an improvement based upon what's there now. I can appreciate the concerns regarding the egress onto Robinson Road, and I hope that there's some way to form a compromise with respect to that. I'm not going to opine on that either way. But I do like the design, and I just really want to remind people and touch on some comments made by Mr. Montanari. We're really working hard to revitalize the common. We've got a sewer project that we're bringing forward to the town, and I see this project and this proposal as a catalyst for the future. So I want to thank Northern Bank for bringing this back to us, and their willingness to work with the town. We're really trying to promote and create a walkable, aesthetically pleasing downtown area with open space, and I think that they're starting that process. They're starting that vision with this this project on that triangle piece of the common. We've got to start somewhere, and I think this is a great catalyst for future growth. And if we've got this partnership or this group that is willing to work with us and start with us on our vision to revitalize the common, I think we really need to embrace that. Personally, it's my understanding that Northern Bank owns a considerable amount of land on Great Road. And so if they're bringing this proposal to us, I know that we can work with them. They're listening to us, certainly, just by bringing this proposal back to the board. And I know that they're listening to residents, and I really hope that we can create, come to some sort of compromise, because this is really important to the town. Honestly, I feel like we come up with these ideas, we come up with these plans, and we always find a way to not do it. Let's find a way to do it and get something done. That we've been talking about this for years now, revitalizing the common. We have this opportunity to finally start and do something and make some positive changes for Littleton. So I really hope, that these discussions will continue, this dialogue will continue with the residents, with other board members, and with this group this evening, that I wanted to just thank again for coming back with this proposal. So thank you again very much. That's all I have to say. Good night.
Thank you, Ms. Napoli. Lauren, anyone else? Can we take one or two more, and then we'll move on and continue this for another day?
Yep, actually, there's 4 people with hands raised. Lauren Borba.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, yes. Thank you so much for the time. I am Lauren Borba. I live at 29 Robinson Road. I just wanted to, acknowledge the aesthetics of the building and the fact that, as Chuck and Cindy pointed out, that this is a cornerstone and catalyst to the revitalization. Absolutely agree with that. What I significantly oppose is the egress onto Robinson Road. This is a dead end of houses that are densely populated with small children who are frequently riding their bikes up and down the street. Not only that, who are also going to the bus stop at the end of the street. If you even take a portion of the cars that the bank is estimating that will be turning left onto the street, this is adding significant safety concerns to those young children on this road. And while I appreciate people speaking to Mr. Chuck DeCoste, Cindy Napoli, again, to the revitalization, that should not be at the expense of the children of our town. Absolutely not. There are no sidewalks. The bus stop is at the end of the street. The children are out riding their bikes every single day, especially during COVID. And we are going to be adding, again, I'll take a fraction, 90 cars turning onto the street. This poses a significant safety concern. And the fact that we may trump safety of our children due to the aesthetics and the cornerstone, if you will, of the town is significantly concerning. I also want to point out that Northern Bank also owns the property adjacent to the, let's call it the right, that they could easily have an egress through the back parking lot of their adjacent property. The curb cut onto Robinson Road is not needed and can still maintain the revitalization of the common without compromising the safety of our kids. I strongly oppose this, and I want that, to just be stated. This is absurd that we are actually considering doing a curb cut onto Robinson Road. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Aaron?
Jillian.
Hi, this is Jillian. Jillian Murphy. I am actually the house that you can see in this picture, 18 Robinson Road. And we just want to reiterate everything that our neighbors have been saying. It's we're new to the neighborhood, but this is a crazy safety concern. And we also want to say that we definitely oppose this curb cut, especially because The dentist that is already next to us, we have cars turning around in our driveway. They go right up to our house at some points, and this drive-through directly faces our driveway. And I can only imagine with all those cars coming through, the concerns that we have. And especially, as someone mentioned, we do have a new baby, and we walk all the time, and it's definitely concerning to us, and we just wanted our voice out there as the house in the picture.
Lauren Borba.
Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't know I still have my hand raised. I will unraise my hand.
No, thank you. Steven Schwartz.
Hi, this is Steve Schwartz, 30 Robinson Road. The building itself is a beautiful building with its design. You keep on mentioning the fact that it's going to be low traffic going through the ATM and the drive-through. If it's such low traffic, why bother to have it? Is the first statement that I would like to make. We've lived on Robinson Road for 36 years, and over the past several years, we've seen a phenomenal amount of traffic on Great Road, which has increased our difficulty in merging onto Great Road from Robinson Road. And with any additional cars that end up coming down through a drive-through or through any other mechanism, it's going to continue to increase and make it more difficult for us to get out onto Robinson Road. With the Middlesex Bank exit right across from Robinson Road, it's like playing a game of chicken sometimes, trying to get onto Great Road from Robinson Road with those cars coming out of their drive-through. I don't believe that an additional drive-through with traffic on Robinson Road is going to benefit the residents of Robinson Road, and it's going to make it more difficult for us. Thank you.
Thank you.
And one more, Emily Busa Sykes.
Yes, thank you. I'm at 32 Robinson Road. Just to quickly voice my concerns as well, in addition to my neighbors. We are, as you can probably tell, a very close-knit neighborhood. We looks like a quiet dead-end street, but we're a really, really active neighborhood with a lot of young families. We're out every single day. So I have the same safety concerns. I have a young son, who's, walks around frequently. I just wanted to add that we did submit some photos of both the bus stop and the cars. I think if we could show those, or if you would look at those, I think that would be, we'd appreciate that. It's really not as big of a street as it looks. We have to slow down for cars to pass. We are already concerned about traffic from people going down the road, trying to cut through to Bataldo's or, coming to and from the dentist. So it's definitely a concern to the houses on the road. So just wanted to add my voice to those of my friends and neighbors.
Thank you.
Okay, that was everybody with their hands raised.
Okay. All right. So,
you'll note that we have not had any engineering review done yet. We thought it was best to hear back from the board on the layout before we do any drainage review.
Yeah, and I think maybe we should speak with the bank, see if they want to take a look at, they've heard the residents, they've heard the board, talk about maybe redoing the drive-through before we send it out to green, because that'll obviously change the dynamics of the drainage over there. So why don't we continue this till May 6th, and Mr. Vaughn or Mr. Barton, if you could reach out to the board, myself or Maren, and maybe we have a discussion about other alternatives. You've heard where the board's coming from and where the residents are. Maybe we can talk about some other potential or other options out there. Can we continue this? Is everybody happy with continue this till May 6th?
So Thursday, May 6th, do you want to put this one at 7:15?
Sure. Earlier the better.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Thank you, everybody in the audience for their staying on and listening and voicing your opinions and concerns. And we'll continue this until May 6th. Thank you.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. So we've continued the 8 o'clock. Now we have a discussion on Greenfield Drive.
Okay.
Anybody from Greenfield? You want to ask Jeff to come back in, Maren?
Yeah, thank you. We'll just have it there.
You know, it's not exactly warm up, by the way. It's getting a little cold.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have anybody to speak on Greenfield?
Yeah. Presuming the person that says Sam Gould is probably Cheryl.
Sherry? Well, while we're waiting for Sherry to come in, I did speak with town council at great length about this, back and forth. The lots were done, the lot that we're talking about was a viable lot before zoning came in and back in the 50s. So we checked the chain of ownership, and it has been ascertained that this is the old Smadback lots. It is large enough to stand on its own, to have a house put on it. We understand there's a paper road there. I spoke with Sherry about giving us a better road, not a 12-foot driveway. She has sent over new plans with a 18-foot road with a turnaround at the end. So we do have that. I think we've gone as far as we can with this. Board have any questions, any concerns?
Mr. Chair, if there are new plans, we haven't seen them, so we can't really even discuss it.
It's a driveway plan. It was sent to the office today. The issue is the adequacy of the roadway going in for frontage. We have a checklist or a bylaw for these Smadback lots that we've been using since 2011, Maren, correct me if I'm wrong, 11 or 13.
I'm sorry, I missed the question.
For all the old Smadbacks, from everything we've done before this, we had a checklist that
the paper street procedure,
street.
the policy
Yep.
that recommends a specific design.
Anna, do you want to take more time and look at the roadway? Do you want to look at it now? Do you want to?
I want some more time to take a look at it. Yes, thank you. I'll just have to abstain from any discussion.
So what happened? I lost everybody.
No, we're here.
Am I still there?
Yeah.
We see you. We hear you.
Oh, excuse me. Okay, I'm back. So the only issue is, is there an issue whether or not the lots stand on their own as far as buildable lots? That's not an issue. It's the road, correct? As far as you're concerned, the lots were in existence before zoning in 1950. So those 5 lots. I'm not talking about the triangle. I'm just talking about the lots on Greenfield. They're grandfathered. They meet the requirements of grandfathering of the old Spadback lots from the 1930s. You just want to talk about the roadway and you want to see the new layout and vote on it then? Is that what you want to do?
Sure. Yes, I would like to see the information that we've received today.
What about the rest of the board? What about you, Jeff?
Well, I don't want to make this a global issue, but to vote on something that we received the same day and we don't have a chance to look at, I'm with Anna.
Okay, I'm just asking because the only issue now before us really is the road.
Yes, no, I accepted the existence of the lot beforehand, so now it's strictly And I'm not sure we need an 18-foot road, but I think we have to look at the plan and, you know.
Okay. Jerry, are you okay with that? You want to take a look at the roadway and do you want to try to?
Well, I mean, to be fair, he's not changing the layout. He's just changing the width.
Well,
I mean, if you want to do that, I mean, fine, but it seems kind of trivial.
Okay. Well, I think.
What do you care? I mean, why would you care?
I'm on now if you can see me,
Yeah, we can see you, Sam.
Mr. Chair, Sherry. I don't know how to change my name.
Mr. Chair, we're meeting again in 2 weeks. Can we have this discussion then?
Do you want to put them on for the 18th? And that by that time, everyone will have a chance to look at the new layout.
April 22nd.
Can we do that? Are you okay with that, Sherry? Just let everybody take a look at it because that's the only issue.
Yeah, I just want to point out to everyone what they're going to be looking at, and that is nothing on that plan has changed except the 2 items this board has asked us for from day one. That is a wider width on the road, similar to that of the Joyce Halloran project on Worcester. So we made it that width, and a turnout or snow storage onto the lot. And so we made a T area for turnout and snow storage. That's the only difference you're going to see to the plan.
Okay. So do you want to, Maren, is anyone in the audience? Does anyone want to speak about this? Is anyone have their hands up?
Yeah, Gary Allen.
Okay. Mr. Allen, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Great. I did it right this time. Yeah, I just have a concern with drainage. There's going to be an awful lot of trees and foliage removed here. The septic system, I'm assuming, is going to be built up like most modern times. And I'm concerned with the runoff water. I just don't understand why we're not doing DOT standards. What makes this an exception?
Well, we are bringing it up. 18 feet is definitely a lot better than the 12-foot driveway that they were proposing before. It is.
I understand that, but with most DOT roads, you know, there's drainage and curbing to deflect that water to go to the right spots. I just can imagine this water runoff just dumping on my property. And then I question whether the road is actually deeded to that lot. I've been doing a little bit of homework, and I feel like I may have to seek counsel myself. I would appreciate this being delayed.
Okay, well, we're at least going to hold it off till the 18th. As far
Mr. Chair,
as far as the ownership of the road, it's going to be it's still going to be a private way. It won't.
Yeah, but what gives them these private roads? There's been cases that the town does not even own them.
It's still going to be a private road. It's going to be plowed and maintained privately by.
But was it deeded that way? From what I saw, all I saw on deeds that they're supposed to supply was ownership of each lot. Nothing. These roads are supposed to be deeded.
Well,
from my understanding and what I'm reading, and like I said, I do need to seek counsel.
Okay.
To verify this.
So right now there's a layout of that road, 20 feet on either side from the abutters on both sides of the lots. There is a layout. It was done when Spadback did it in 36. The roadway will be within that 40-foot right-of-way. I understand your concern about drainage. That's definitely an issue. But as of right now, this is not the first time this has ever been done in the town of Lowell. There's a lot of those old lots that now are more viable because, as everybody knows, the price of building houses and the lots are through the roof. So it makes these lots that have been, for lack of a better word, left in their natural state for the past 40 or 50 years attractive. And I've spoken with town council, and the only thing we can really look at is the adequacy of the road to service this. The lot does exist. It existed in the 30s. And so we're going to take a look at the roadway. I don't really want to get too involved until we've all had a chance to look at it. I guess the best way to put it. But I understand.
Yes, I agree.
I understand your concern, and drainage is definitely a concern of yours. And we'll see how the road lays out and see what, if any, drainage can be done. Is that your one and only concern, Mr. Allen?
Yes, at this time.
Okay. Maren, does anyone else have their hand up?
No, there are no other hands raised.
Okay. Board have any other questions, or everybody gets a chance to take a look at the layout, the turnaround, and we'll get back to this on the 18th of
22nd.
22nd. All right, I was close.
Yeah.
I had April right. Sherry, do you have anything else to add?
No, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Anyone else? Jerry, are you good?
I do want to just tell you that Mr. Shaw isn't in attendance because he has a little girl at Children's. So if you'd all say a prayer for her tonight, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you. We will.
Oh, jeez. The young one?
Charlotte.
All right, so we'll continue this till the 22nd. You want to put it on early, Maren, or do you want to?
This is a discussion, not an official hearing, but I'll try to slide it in at the beginning of the meeting so we can get through this before we talk about the zoning.
Okay, great. Thank you. Well, do we have that's it. Now we just have board business to deal with. Thank you. Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you.
Any board member updates? Anything? Since the last time we met 2 weeks ago, nothing? I think I'm good. I have nothing. Do you have anything to add, Anna?
No, MPIC will be meeting sometime this month, and Chair Napoli is preparing a presentation for town meeting.
Okay. I have Affordable Housing Trust next week, so I have nothing from the last one. Anyone else? Jerry, you have anything?
No. This is my last meeting.
Oh, you have one more.
Two more.
Two more.
Can't leave us yet, Jerry.
Oh, I can.
Well, please don't.
Is any okay? What about minutes? Does anyone have any question about?
Hold on.
Up, Jeff.
I'd like to set aside some time for Jerry to talk about what the Ag Commission came back with. I was a little, I don't know what to think.
About what?
About the Ag Commission comments on TDR. They want to propose something not completely different, but
I know. I don't understand. This is my problem. I don't understand what the objection to is to TDR as a tool and why they seem to have two mutually dependent concepts. Like it's either TDR or this or that. I'm not sure where they're coming from.
I agree. They want to be able to develop their land and have it set aside as farmland also. I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with his supposition that TDR does not preserve farming operations. I totally agree. It's really preserving the open space and maybe keeping it in its natural sort of its aesthetic state. But to say that we're disadvantaging them with having a TDR option for someone where that works, I don't understand the objection. I haven't heard a reason why it just can't be a tool.
Yeah, they could just not do it if it doesn't work for them.
Yeah, not mandatory for them at all.
Right.
But it seems odd that, I mean, so you're able to sell your land for value. So you're able to convert your asset, part of your asset to cash, continue to operate it as a farm, just not build on it. I don't get the problem with that. Like what they intend to cash out as a
they do point out that there's APRs, there's agriculture preservation restrictions. So that's another tool. And now they want a third tool.
Just
for agriculture. I don't know. I just was reviewing it. I don't really understand it.
No, I agree with you.
Gary, we're gonna
I
miss you.
I mean, I understand what they're at. I understand that their need is something different than what TDR is designed to do. So I get what they're saying that way, but we weren't approaching AdCom to ideate on other types of solutions. We're coming them specifically under the mandate of the grant that asks us to evaluate TDR and propose a bylaw, which we are doing, right? So we're still inside our bounds. So if they want to engage us and talk about other possibilities in lieu of TDR, great. But the grant funded the TDR bylaw, and so that's what we're executing on. And I think their comments are welcome. And I share their concerns about farming, but I just don't think it applies to TDR.
Okay.
In that way. So I think we should probably consider, well, I would recommend you consider going forward with TDR as a proposal. Whether AdCom chooses to use it or not, it's their choice.
So I would just like to comment that I did attend the AdCom meeting briefly, or I should say it was a bit of a brief meeting. So I am glad that they submitted what their concerns are. So that provides us something to at least consider and discuss. And yes, it would be great if we could continue working on TDR. I guess if we can even do it in
I guess the best way is to invite it before us and have a public meeting on it.
Yeah, the update that I just got today from Mark Rassicott at MAPC was that the grant funds or the contract with MAPC is now complete on TDR, but he had several suggestions on how to move forward with discussions, after town meeting, after the June town meeting to reinvigorate the discussions, because there's certainly a lot of interest in the topic. We just need to bring someone across the finish line.
Engaged with AdCom, right? I mean, we don't have a similar engagement with Selectmen, and we haven't talked to Conservation Commission. We have, there's a lot of other boards to get input from. And maybe there are other groups in the town who might want to participate and support it. Because you're going to need it when you go to the floor. But I just think it's important for everybody to understand the context of this bylaw, and that it's simply a voluntary use. It's no mandate to use it.
Yeah.
But we do, by the way, need to find a place to put all those units. Which, I mean, that's the big struggle, right? We don't have a sink to put TDR units.
Okay. Well, obviously, we're not going to do much before town meeting because we have
No, not at all. But I mean, those would be the two problems you'd need to solve. Is one, getting the rest of the boards to opine, and then two would be, where do you put the units?
Okay, well, we'll have to deal with this after town meeting. Minutes. Anybody have any issue with the?
Wait. I came up.
Okay. Come on, I'm freezing out here. Come on.
Oh, well, get inside. So what Jerry just said about what Maren just said about the contract for TDR being over, I did also want to bring up not the contract, but the dollars for form-based code training. And I think that especially with the application that we now have in front of us with Northern Bank, if there are staff or other community members in need to receive that training, Maren, is it feasible to try to get that training done before the end of the year so that we don't lose those funds?
I'll have to consider that. My knee-jerk reaction is our plates are overfull already, but let me consider.
Well, and in light
maybe
of
working together, we can.
Yeah, I think that would be great, especially in light of losing dollars, because that was grant money, so we don't want to kick that gift horse in the face. And there are just so many more people now that haven't been exposed to form-based code that I think it would be a good idea for them to receive that kind of training. So that'd be good. Let's keep talking about that. Okay, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Can I get to the minutes now? Are you done?
Well, we do have public input before the minutes in case there's any other public.
Anybody have their hands up, Maren? I can jump
No,
around.
just the developers that are waiting for the lot releases.
Yeah, see, they don't care. All right, minutes. Anybody have any problem with March 4th and March 18th?
No.
So I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as written.
Well, actually, I would like to make a motion to approve the minutes of March 4th. The March 18th one, I do have something I need to clarify first before.
Okay, I'll take one at a time. March 4th. All those in favor of the minutes from March 4th signify by saying aye. Jerry?
Aye.
Jeff?
Yeah, aye.
I'm an aye. Anna? Say
Yeah.
I skipped.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, how about the minutes from the Littleton Station Area Committee meeting of February 9th? Anyone have any issues with those?
We can open the link, so there's nothing.
For February 9th?
Mm-mm.
You're asking.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
What? You're the one who put it on the agenda. All right, well, let's skip it. Let's go to Wellington and then Croftland.
Sure. Okay. Wellington Drive. Where did it go?
Oh, you've run it all by Green, right?
Yep. We have a bond estimate for Wellington Drive. Total with contingency, $157,126. Based on a specific list of 28 items, construction items. I would recommend that the board set the bond at that amount and allow this office the leeway to reduce that bond amount, the amount of the bond that they post in a tri-party agreement. Based on any work that's completed and inspected by Green. So
No, we don't. Don't we
Have any problem with that? Andy, do you have a problem with that?
Well, no, I was just wondering, we didn't get anything in writing as to what those 28 construction items are.
I just posted it this afternoon. Sorry, my apologies. It was so late.
Okay. And what's the amount?
157, 126.
Yep. Are you okay with that? That as long as once they satisfy Green, that Maren will probably reduce it once the items in question are ticked off.
Okay, so this amount came as a recommendation from Green? Is that what I heard? Okay. All right.
Correct.
Okay. Anyone else have any issues with it? Or I'll entertain a motion to approve the bond amount of 157, 126, subject to Green agreeing that some of the 28 articles have been done and the reduction accordingly. Anyone want to second that?
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Anna?
Yes.
With a frown, yes. Jeff?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
And I'm a yes.
Okay, and then once that bond is put in place, they have proposed a tri-party agreement. Will run past town council and town treasurer as to form. But then they're looking for lot releases for all of the lots on Wellington Drive, or for the remaining lots on Wellington Drive. One of the lots was a model unit that did not require a lot release.
Okay, providing we have the security in place. We'll address it once security is taken care of. Okay, what about Croft Lane, Croft Circle?
So actually you should vote on the lot release
Subject to the tri-party agreement.
in place.
Yeah. Okay, everyone good with that as well? That was kind of this one and the same. And with that?
Mm-hmm.
We'll release the lots once we get the tri-party agreement in place. You're good with that?
So everybody signed on and then we can do that? Then the lots are released?
Yeah, this is normal procedure of how we do it. Smile.
I'm tired.
Yes, I'm asking you for a yes or a no.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yes, everybody. Jeff, you a yes?
Yes.
All right, you good? You happy now, Maren?
Getting closer.
All right, one last thing before my teeth start chattering.
Yep, we have bond for Croft Circle, the subdivision at 93 Foster Street. We have a request to set the bond amount for that, and the number's too small.
It's Mr. Wheeler for Wellington Drive or Croft Circle?
Croft Circle.
Okay, great.
Yep. Bond amount for that, $692,000, $692,005. And Green has confirmed that that bond is for the entire subdivision. So the request is for release of all the lots on Croft Circle. Well, it set the bond amount and release all the lots.
And Green's okay. 690. And they understand the tri-party agreement as well?
Green is good with the bond amount. I believe, guessing the question from Mr. Wheeler is regarding the form of the bond. Had a discussion with him this afternoon that the board used to accept only cash bond, but we were reminded by town council that we need to also be able to accept tri-party agreements, and that had been the current standard. I believe Mr. Wheeler would like to do a standard bond. I do have concerns with that, and we have not run that by either town council or town treasurer.
Okay, well,
So, do
we've always used the tri-party. So I think if we're going to vote on it, we have to, I don't think we're going to vote on it until we find out what the security is going to be.
Okay, here from Mr. Wheeler.
Yes, so
Mr. Wheeler, are you there?
yeah, yes. Can you not hear me?
We can hear you.
Hear you.
Yeah, so we prefer to do a typical bond, but if you folks aren't comfortable with that, then we'll go, because we have that all set up and ready and ready to roll, and that's typically what we do everywhere else, and is sort of transitioned into the simpler process. But if you folks are strongly preferring a tri-party agreement, then we will agree to do that. If it will bring it, we can bring a tri-party agreement to your next meeting.
Okay, so do you want to do it on the 22nd then, Maren?
Well, I would recommend the same vote that you just took for Wellington Drive, that you set the bond amount, release the lots based on the tri-party agreement being in place after we
Okay.
get it reviewed by town council and town treasurer. I don't
Okay.
see the need for another board meeting. I'll just ask for signatures.
Okay, fine with me, as long as you agree, Mr. Wheeler, that we'd rather have the tri-party agreement and that you'll get that executed, and we'll agree to the number and the lot releases.
Okay, yeah, the reason we don't have it is we didn't realize that that's the preference, but I'll get it organized, and we are agreeable to it, and as soon as we can close the loop at the bank on the tri-party agreement, we'll bring it in.
Okay, that's great. So then, Green's looked at it, I'll entertain a motion to approve give me the number again, Maren,
692,005.
Everybody good with that?
I so move.
Second?
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor, Anna,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
and I'm a yes. So, okay, so as soon as you get it in place, we'll release the lots for you, Mr. Wheeler. Thank you. Is that it, Maren? Are we done for the night?
That's it. The only thing I wanted to announce was we finally officially got word of the grant award from the Housing Choice for $225,000 for Hager Homestead utility connections.
Nice,
That was very exciting to hear officially.
very nice. Okay. Any other board issues, or anyone want to talk about anything else? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion that we adjourn until April 22nd. I had it, Myron.
April when?
Anybody else good?
22nd.
April 22nd. Ann, are you good?
Yes.
Okay.
So I move to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second. All those in favor? Anna?
Yes.
Jeff?
Yes,
Jerry?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. Thank you all.
thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.